Today's NERF review is brought to you by the Brick Broadcast, who requested I review the Longshot CS-6. If you want to see a NERF blaster reviewed, just leave it down in the comments and I'll do what I can. Or you can check out the Discord in the link in the description below. Let's see if we can get him this time. I don't think that even left the barrel. It's still in the clip. That's not gonna help me. Come on. Nope.
Hello everybody, this is Maniac4Toys, and yes, we're reviewing NERF blasters independently from time to time and in various orders. There's not necessarily going to be every new blaster or every old blaster. I'm just going to go over ones that I thought might be interesting to talk about at different points. So for today, as you saw in the beginning, this is a request from the Brick Broadcast, also doing his own NERF stuff occasionally, known as the Blaster Broadcast on YouTube. You can check out his channel in the description and all that stuff. But for now, I want to get straight to the review of the Longshot CS-6. This was released in the N-Strike line before they had the Elite series that continues to this day, and is what normally is known as N-Strike Elite. So this was done in 2006. It was one of the longest of NERF blasters ever produced. It kind of resembles a sniper, or those kinds of blasters in military form. And this is retailed originally for $30. If you find it nowadays, it's going to be way less than that, depending on the condition or packaging of it. But it's not too hard to find. It's not a rare blaster. It's had multiple releases in different colors. This is the original blue and yellow color scheme that I grew up with. And there was also a redesign of it once or twice. There was a Longshot released later that had a more sleek design and some other color schemes added to it, some different features compared to this one. But this is the original, the first one that came out for the Longshot in any variety. There are even some other blasters that have done basically the same thing, same features, in a different and sometimes better way. This one has definitely had some age. It's had a lot of play over the years, so I totally can say that part of the flaws of this one are because it's been used so frequently. In my testing procedures for this video, it doesn't really fire that far. It fires somewhere between 20 to 30 feet, as you can see in the footage, and sometimes doesn't even leave the barrel. That joke in the beginning was actually true. I've had a few times where, as it was firing through here, it got stuck somewhere in this mid-range, and had to kind of shake the dart out of it in order to keep firing afterward. Originally, this came equipped with 2 clips of 6 darts each. So you can see the yellow clips underneath on the main side. This is where you normally would load it up. But you also have one along the back side. So that back stock can actually be used as a way of holding a second one. I haven't really tested it with any of the modern clips, but I have a feeling that there are some groove changes, you know, the different ways that they mold the plastic over time, that they might not fit the exact same way. So if you were interested in it, it might not be the same thing. I did use in my testing procedure an 18 dart clip, and that seemed to work fine, but it may not work for every single clip in every capacity. I know I've had some issues like that with older blasters in certain clips, but I digress. What's cool about this is that it has a whole bunch of features to it that can change how you play with it. So obviously you have the bipod in here that can actually fold up, so that if you want to carry this thing by hand, you'll be able to do that. It clips right into place, and it can make it more mobile. The bipod obviously would be good for a standing point. You have a second holster up here. Well, not actually a holster, more of a, it's actually a second trigger, but we'll talk about that in just a bit. The main operation of this is done by a bolt action. It's simply put on both sides of the blaster. You could pull it back, push it forward, and it would be able to, ready itself for firing. If you pulled it all the way back and you press this little trigger underneath, you would be able to drop whatever clip is in there and also load another one. When it's moved forward like this, you can't actually do that. It would already be in a locked position. Same thing also happens up here. This would be your jam door. When you have this thing pulled back, you can actually go through there, see what dart is in there, unjam it in case there are some malfunctions. This is what I showed before about trying to unload the clip. Oh, you got a dart in there already. Yeah, these have also had some wear and tear over time. Like I said, they've been used frequently. You can see how much of it has been discolored, and the spring inside of there may not always be responsive for moving the next dart up. So, there's just, like I said, it's a 13-year-old toy. I kind of expect this to happen. Also, kind of expect that to happen with the scope on top of it. It is not a magnifying scope, but it is a cool looking accessory to kind of tie in the whole look of the thing. But this simply rides on top of the tactical rail, much like tactical rails are used on many Nerf blasters nowadays, and it's simply just a way to view through. I don't think it actually improves accuracy. I've never really seen any improved accuracy through this. It is not magnifying in any way, but it does have some nice little crosshair design inside of there if you wanted to very carefully look at a subject. But it's had some wear and tear over time. It doesn't reach on both sides of the rails for my particular copy, probably from a lot of back and forth play with it, so it's not always going to clamp properly onto the Longshot or other Nerf blasters. With that removed, you could also use this as a nice carry handle because it's very sturdy, so if you didn't want to carry it by the triggers, you can carry it by the top, and that works very well. You also can move the stock a little bit back. So it may be a little hard to demonstrate from here, because I don't have enough space to turn the whole thing around. But on the opposite side of here, you have this lock that can actually extend out the stock to a certain length so that it can be more comfortable depending on the user. That's pretty neat, and also helps it from riding too close to your hand here where you're holding the trigger. That way the stock isn't too close when trying to hold the thing, whether you're on the ground or not. But yeah, it is kind of a weird thing that the lock is on the opposite side. The printing is really good on this side. The lock is on the opposite side, but the other thing that I showed before when trying to get the, the clip out, was only on this side. So you have a little bit of back and forth to be familiar with. It's not really equipped for right-handed or left-handed singly. It's kind of a little bit of both. So you just have to be aware of that if you were to use it. As I go through this thing, if you bring this back in, also a lot more discoloring on here. You bring this back in, it should lock into place, and then you'll be able to fire one dart. It is supposed to have a heavy spring in it because it's a long barrel and therefore needs a lot more power to get all the way through the barrel. But like I said, it's been worn out over time, so the spring may not be as tight, and it's still not helpful having a long barrel on a Nerf blaster in general. It's not really going to improve your accuracy from what I've heard and what I've seen. I've tested this thing out before using a chronograph from the Modulus Ghost Ops series, and this thing doesn't really get good velocity when it leaves the barrel. It's actually kind of poor. If it's 30 to 40 feet per second, then that's good for what it can do. Again, because of the age of it. Now, moving on, I did mention how, you could have attachments on top of here, but you can also have attachments on the front. This whole section can separate as its own blaster, per se. It is a front gun attachment, so if you didn't want the longest barrel possible, you could turn that out and remove it. So that's how I was able to fit the Chrono Barrel on. You could fit other accessories on there. It is compatible with modern day accessories for barrel attachments, so that looks great. I'm glad the system is still universal. And for this piece itself, it's okay, but again, might have just had some wear and tear. I don't think it's ever really supposed to be as good as the main thing as far as firing through here. You could stick one dart in the front. You would have this top barrel being where the main dart would go flying through. You load that back, it goes back into place. Sometimes you have to push the dart back in, and you could fire it forward. Wait, I guess I can do it all the way. Weird. Yeah, it's not really working right now for some reason. But every time I put it back, it keeps wanting to move the dart forward, not actually click into place, like actually hold the spring back. So, yeah, again, it's faulty, it's 13 years old, what do you expect? But there's what it's looking like, and a little bit of how it plays. This was requested by the Brick Broadcast once again. thank you to him for bringing this up as a Nerf review for the channel. If you guys would like to see specific blasters reviewed at any given point, whether it's a new one or old one, let me know in the comments down below or on the Discord, which will be linked as well in the description. So you can check on there for more information, and I will get back to you as soon as possible with if I have the blaster, if I have a certain version of it, and hopefully add it into the queue for a new video in the near future. Is this one I would really go back for? Not really. I mean, it's iconic, sure. A lot of people outside of Nerf hobby will remember this thing, but it's not really one that could function very well. I mean, even if you get it new, it could be questionable. It may not work as well as other blasters on the market. Like I said, there have been other versions of the Longshot made after this point. There's been the Tri-Strike, which does the same bolt action function here, and in my opinion, does it a little bit better, and is much shorter for the whole thing, even before the front barrel bit there. And in general, it's kind of big and bulky for something that's not going to fire that far, so it may not be worth it. But it was still fun to take a look back at something that was at one time a pretty popular blaster from the Nerf group. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time with more Maniac4Toys videos.